have a group of Livonia graduates, recent Livonia graduates who have completed their first year at college, and they are going to tell us about their experiences using college libraries. We have Kirsten, who's just finished her first year at Suffolk University in Boston. We have Emma, who just finished her first year at MCC in a 2+2 program. Here's Matt, who just finished his first year at Alfred University. Andrew just finished his first year at MCC in a 2+2 program. Ginny just finished her first year at Ithaca College. And Rose, who just finished her first year at Notre Dame. You all visited SUNY Geneseo's Milne Library during your senior year in high school. You had a research paper assignment in hand, and a college librarian gave you a tour and instructed you in using the library's resources. What were your first impressions of a college library?
Well, moving away from using the high school databases, it was definitely a lot more overwhelming. There are a ton of other resources to go to, like just typing in what you would for the high school ones, it gave a lot more than you did if you were just using our one here at Livonia. So it was a lot more to look at. You had to refine your searches a lot more, so it was definitely overwhelming at first.
It was great to have so many sources available. Sometimes in high school, you just, with our available databases, you just can't get as many sources. And with Milne Library's sources and resources in my college at Ithaca, there are many more available options.
I think it was a little intimidating, just the sheer number of books that were there to use also, because like the call numbers that you had to look up and everything, but once you figured out the system, it's just like here, so I think we were pretty prepared for that.
Think back to the senior research project you did at Livonia. You had to write a 3 to 5 page position paper on a contemporary issue, citing at least 5 sources. What did you think of this project when you were doing it, and what do you think of it now in retrospect in terms of preparation value?
I definitely, when we were doing the project, was not thrilled because we usually did like 3-page papers at most, and it would be like, oh, maybe 4, and then to have to go to 5 pages was sometimes hard. But definitely looking at it now, I'm glad that we did it because I had minimum of 7-page papers, like routinely, especially throughout my freshman seminar. And I definitely think it could have been longer. I think we could have even gone to like a 10-page minimum instead of 7, because a lot of my papers have been 7 to 10 pages minimum.
Everybody agree with that? Disagree?
Definitely could have been longer, even though we wouldn't have wanted
to do it, but it would have helped a lot, I think.
Does your college require you to take a library orientation or a research skills class?
No, definitely not.
No.
For one of my classes, just the first assignment was just to get used to the databases kind of, and just find a couple sources for a project, but not an entire like full-length class. It was just one assignment real quick.
One of my professors had us take a library orientation, but it was because she wanted it, not required.
I was in the same situation. I took notes for a class for a student with disabilities, and in that class, it was a freshman seminar, and the professor had the class go to the library and have like kind of an impromptu, just little small orientation group, but nothing really serious. It was about 20 minutes.
What types of research assignments were you given in college? And did you use your college library's resources to complete them online or actually visiting the buildings?
I only had one serious research project for my freshman seminar, my first semester, and if the books weren't provided by the professor, they were actually actual books that I got out of the library. I never actually used an online database until the second semester, which I actually did use. But it wasn't a college database, it was just a LexisNexis for looking up articles for a journalism class.
I had to do a research project based on a book, so we had to find a topic from the book and go online and research it. And I use my library's databases more than actual books, just because it was easier to get the information out of and easier to cite, but I never really signed out any books for a research project or for personal use.
Last semester I took an English class that had a research paper in it, but all of the materials that we were required to use for citing were given to us by the teacher. So I really only used one other outside source for that, but whenever I did, I just kept it in the library. I never ended up taking it out. I just used, the majority of what I used was given to us by the professor, and just that one other outside source, but it was all in the library where I worked on it.
In first semester, I had a research assignment that was given to us over a break period in school. So we had a long weekend to go prepare for this research assignment, and I went home. So I ended up signing out probably a dozen library books, but it was much easier for me to just use printed resources rather than databases.
I had a few research assignments, and I mostly used the college databases, and I found them to be really helpful, and they had a lot more information, and I never took out a book.
Yeah, for my one research paper, I didn't have to use any of the databases because my teacher, she gave us the sources that we needed.
Last question. How valuable do you feel that the college library visit was when you were in high school for preparing you for using a college library in college?
I think it was very valuable because my library at school is pretty much set up the same way, in that they have a computer lab that you can go to look up sources on a database, and then they have the columns of books all around that are easily numbered so that you can find a book if you need to. And the way that the lady gave us the run through and just an overview of how to search through college databases and through their website helped a lot.
Yeah, going from a small library such as this one, only one floor, limited amount of space just because it's a high school, going to a college library where there's multiple floors, huge rooms just filled with books, and like Matt said, a giant computer lab. We have one here, but there could be one on every floor in some of these bigger colleges. It's definitely eye-opening going from, like I said, just from high school to college, and it's definitely good getting used to that different environment before getting there.
It was nice to be able to go to a college library for the day. We went for like a half day at least, and it was, you know, a lot of kids are like, oh yeah, you're just getting out of school, but it was nice to not be constricted to one period. Like a lot of times you would come down for a class period and it just wouldn't be enough time to do everything that you wanted to do. So to have that bigger amount of time, if you used it wisely and you used it correctly, it helped you a lot, I think, for the final paper.
And so we have it, the impressions of first-year college library use.